Hey there. We're going to look at solving algebraic equations when you have variables on both sides. So we're going to start first just looking at just straight linear equations. So we have our first equation is 4x plus 2 equals 5x minus 13. So as you can see, our problem here starting is that there's a 4x on this side and a 5x on that side, and they're on opposite sides of the equation. So we can't just combine like terms like usual. There's something we have to do first before we can combine them. And all that is we're going to move our variables algebraically onto the same side and then combine like terms. It's pretty much the same as combining like terms, except we have to use algebra, opposite operations, in order to do so. So I have a 5x on the right-hand side, a 4x on the left-hand side. Generally, my rule is I'm always trying to move things to whichever is the biggest positive side. So right now, 5x is the most positive. It's bigger than 4x. So I'm going to move everything onto that side. So I'm going to move this like term, the 4x, onto that side by subtracting 4x. The opposite of 4x is minus 4x. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides of the equation. It's pretty much like combining like terms, except since they're on opposite sides, they kind of have to be opposite. So we have a positive 2 on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, what we're left with is 5x minus 4x. So that's just like 5 minus 4, which is just 1x. So we normally just write this just as x, minus 13. Now at this point, we just have a one-step algebraic problem to solve. So we have x minus 13 equals 2. So the opposite of minus 13 is plus 13. So I'm going to add 13 to both sides of the equation. And what I'm left with is my variable x all by itself equals 15. All right. Now, why don't you pause and try this example on your own right now? Okay, now that you guys have tried that example, we're going to solve it together. So I normally try to move things onto whichever side is the most positive. So I have a negative 3x here and a positive 2x there. So this 2x is positive, this one's negative. So I'm going to move everything onto this side. You don't have to do it this way. I just think it's the easiest way to do it, and it gives you a consistent way every time. So the opposite of this negative 3x is going to be a positive 3x. I have to add it since we're talking about terms here. And I'm going to add a positive 3x to the other side of the equation. Again, it's just like combining like terms, but they're on different sides of the equal sign. On the left-hand side, now, only thing we're left with is the 4. And then on the right-hand side, we have 2x plus 13x, plus 3x, so that gives us 5x minus 16. Now what we're left with is a two-step algebraic problem to solve. Remember, we always deal with the addition-subtraction part first before the multiplication or division. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 16 to the right-hand side and also add it to the left-hand side. Remember, opposite operations and balance are the same things you always need to be thinking of every time you solve an algebraic problem. The minus 16 plus 16 cancel out, and what we're left with is 5x on the right-hand side, and then on the left-hand side we're left with 4 plus 16, which is 20. So again, let's think opposite operations. 5 times x, what's the opposite of multiplying by 5? It would be dividing by 5 so that we can get x by itself. We divide the right-hand side by 5, we also divide the left-hand side of the equation by 5. What we're left with is that x equals 20 divided by 5, which is 4.